Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. Today has been an absolutely crazy day for spoiler season. I mean, earlier today we got a really sweet commander with Quasar Augur of Agonies, and yeah, your opponents are going to be quite in agony with this commander, so make sure you check that episode out at some point. Also, make sure you check out my brand new favorite commander from this set so far with Toulouse, Clever Conductor, and yeah, that mana symbol right there, that's accurate. Azorius, Blue, Dimir. Looking pretty weird in the command zone, but I like it. And also, of course, make sure you check out my most recent episode on Topiary Stomper, a plant dinosaur. What isn't to love? But don't leave for those episodes just yet, because on this episode, I'm going to be talking about Errant Street Artist, which very well might be the most unique commander from the set yet. And you know what would be really unique? Well, blaming Eddie in the comments below, because Eddie never gets blamed for anything, and if I make any mistakes, of course, it is Eddie's fault, so blame Eddie right now. Thank you. Let's jump into it. So, Errant Street Artist is a 0/3 human rogue with Flash, Defender, and Haste, so lots of words already. That just costs a single blue mana. That's right, another 1 mana commander, and this one is quite spicy. By paying 1 in a blue, you can tap to copy target spell you control that wasn't cast. You may choose new targets for the copy. So if you're out there not casting spells, you just get to copy them. Now, obviously, for the most part, this is going to apply to spells that you are copying, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're basically going to say, hey, you know that spell that we're casting? Well, we're copying it with some other effect, and also, I'm going to utilize my commander to copy it again. And maybe again. You never know. There's some really spicy things that you can do with this commander, and some really powerful things as well. And again, keep in mind, this is basically a 3 mana copy of a copy spell just from your command zone, or I should say right away, because it is a 1 mana commander with haste, so you can use that activation right away. So again, if you're already making a copy of something else and you've got the mana for it, well, why not pay 3 more to just make another copy of the copy? But yeah, overall, I really like the design of this low-to-the-ground commander, and I think that there are some really unique and powerful things that you can do with it, and this very well might be a spicy enough commander where I want to build a deck around it because, yeah, I think copies of copies can be fun. Copy. I'm just going to keep saying that. Anyways. Now, when it comes to the cards I'm going to be mentioning in this episode, I will be including a link in the description below because many out there have been asking for that. And yeah, I mean, basically, if you're interested in building around this commander, you might want to consider picking up some of these cards earlier rather than later because when players are excited about a commander, prices do tend to go up on specific cards. But yeah, when it comes to this commander, of course, the first kinds of cards that you might want to consider are ones that copy spells with ones like Twin Cast, Narset's Reversal, and Mirror Pool. Twin Cast says, copy target, insert a sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So this is a very simple 2 mana spell that can copy any insert a sorcery out there, so obviously including your own or an opponent's. But yeah, just 2 mana is pretty fantastic. And of course, on top of that, just by paying 2 more mana, you know, if your commander's already in play, you copy again. Or I should say, you copy the copy again. So basically, what? 4 mana in total for 2 extra copies? Yeah, sign me up for that. Speaking of which, Narset's Reversal says, copy target, insert a sorcery spell, then return to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy. So, in a way, this is kind of like a bounce spell for a spell, which obviously can be like a delayed counterspell for an opponent's, you know, spell, essentially be like, hey, hold off on the insert a sorcery right now. We'll give it back to you if it goes back to your hand, but I'm actually just going to, you know, get a copy of it right now. Thank you. And of course, again, then you can get a second copy of it with your commander just to, you know, rub a little salt into the wound for your opponent who didn't get to actually play their spell. And of course, even a fantastic land like Mirror Pool can really help you out. It says, pay 2 and a colorless and tap and sacrifice it. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So yeah, having this effect on a land can be fantastic. And again, it can work very well in combination with your commander when you're copying a copy of a spell. But one of the best cards for this deck has got to be Swarm Intelligence. I mean, this thing can just provide you an absurd amount of value in combination with your commander. It's an enchantment for 6 and a blue, and it says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may copy that spell. You may choose targets for the copy. So now every single one of your instants and sorceries is automatically going to be copied, and then your commander just has free reign to say, you know what, for 2 mana, sure, I'll copy that copy of that awesome spell. Speaking of copying awesome spells, how about Wandering Archaic? It says, whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell. You may choose targets for the copy. So this is kind of like a taxing effect for your opponents on their instants and sorceries, and a lot of the time, well, 2 mana is a good amount to force them to have to pay, so they're probably not going to pay that the vast majority of the time, and when they don't, again, you get a free copy of that spell, and then if you want a second copy of it again, you get to rub a little salt into the wound of that opponent by saying, hey, because you didn't pay for that, you might get one of those spells, but I get 2. And speaking of getting 2 spells, well, another card that works fantastically in a copy deck like this one, well, let's talk about Twinning Staff. It says if you would copy a spell 1 or more times, instead copy it that many times plus initial time, you may choose targets for the additional copy. Pay 7, tap, copy target insert sorcery spell you control, you may choose new targets for the copy. So obviously if we've got the mana for it, cool, we can dump a ton of mana into this and copy a spell. But yeah, now any single time we copy a spell, whether that's with Swarm Intelligence or Twin Cast, we get an additional free copy, and then when we copy with our commander, we might get another copy. And yeah, this can get pretty out of hand. Speaking of which, a card that, well, okay, if you've got the budget for it, and also if you've got the mana for it in the game, Lithoform Engine can be fantastic with this commander. Its second ability is pay 3, tap, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control, you may choose targets for the copy, and its 4 tap is copy target permanent spell you control. And of course, the copy becomes a token, and yeah, I mean, whichever one of those modes we utilize, we can copy again with our commander. So obviously we can copy instant sorcery spells further, but we can also just now copy permanent spells we control twice, thanks to our commander. So what is that, 6 mana in total, essentially, 4 for this activation and 2 for our commanders, to get 2 additional copies. And yeah, if you get something like a Swarm Intelligence, copied, then copied again, good luck to your opponents. Also, another activation that can really help us out with this deck comes on Meltus Charlatan, which has pay 2 and a blue, tap, the controller of target instant or sorcery spell copies it, that player may choose targets for the copy. So yeah, even seeing this kind of effect on a creature can be very impactful in a deck like this, where we want to copy a spell so that we can copy it again with our commander. Next up, there are actually spells that kind of copy themselves as well, with cards like Replication Technique and a storm spell like Mind's Desire. Replication Technique has Demonstrate, so when we cast it, we can copy it. If we do, we choose an opponent to also copy it. Players may choose new targets for their copies. And this is going to create a token that's a copy of target permanent we control, which again, Swarm Intelligence, have fun. So essentially, again, you've got the original spell, you've got the copy of it. If you pay 2 more with your commander and tap, well, that's a 3rd essential copy of this spell. So again, have fun with Swarm Intelligence. And then, of course, yeah, I mean, you might want to even consider storm spells like Mind's Desire. This one says, shuffle your library, then exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost, and it's got storm. So when you cast a spell, you copy it for each spell cast before it this turn. So yes, you can just keep copying again and again and again. And yeah, sure, if you want one additional one, pay the 2 mana for your commander. Just something to consider. Moving on, other cards in this deck that can be incredibly impactful are untapped cards like Aphedo Alchemist, Vizier of Tumbling Sands, and Dramatic Reversal. Aphedo Alchemist needs to be reprinted, Wizards. Please reprint it. Anyways, it taps to untap target artifact or creature. And then Vizier of Tumbling Sands is somewhat similar. We can tap it to untap another target permanent, or we can cycle it for 1 and a blue, and when we do, we untap target permanent. Regardless, with either of these, yeah, untapping our commander is an incredibly powerful thing, because if we've got 2 more mana, well, we can just, activate again to copy a copy again. And speaking of untapping and powerful, well, yeah, Dramatic Reversal. This can be a game-ending card in a lot of situations. It's an instant for 1 and a blue that says, untap all non-land permanents you control. So yeah, with this and a way to copy it and our commander in play, well, this is just, well, basically game over for our opponents, essentially. Or sorry, at least I should say, if we've got enough mana from our mana rocks, because essentially we cast this, copy it with something else, and then we copy with our commander. The copy is going to go on the stack first. With that, is going to untap all of our non-land permanents, including mana rocks and our commander, so that we can just keep copying again and again and again for essentially infinite mana, infinite other activations of things, and there are plenty of ways to win from there. And another thing that we're going to want to consider for a commander like this are Magecraft triggers with things like Archmage Emeritus and Dika Fractal Theorist. Archmage Emeritus has Magecraft, so it says whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, draw a card. Again, not only does this count just casting those instant sorceries, which is already great, but it counts the copies too, which of course for this deck is incredible. Speaking of which, Dika says, Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, put X counters on it where X that spell's mana value. So the more spells we cast and the more spells we copy, the more and more and more fractals we get. And yeah, this can help us take over the board in no time. So yeah, there even might be a spot for Errant in a Dika Fractal Theorist deck as well. Another commander that might want to utilize this brand new card, though, is Melek Izzet Paragon. Melek says, play the top card of your library. Revealed, you may cast instant sorcery spells from the top of your library. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell from your library, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. So essentially, we get access to the top of our library. As long as it's an instant sorcery, we can just start casting spells from there. And when we do, we create a copy of them. So we can copy them again with Errant. Yeah, this can provide a lot of value throughout the game, and again, for just 2 mana copying it, that's pretty spicy, especially when we can just flash it in. Speaking of spicy, how about Volo Guide to Monsters? Volo is a 3/2 human wizard that says, whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. Of course, a copy of a creature spell becomes a token. Now, keep in mind that we will not be getting 2 copies of Errant, which really wouldn't matter anyways because the legend rule, we'd lose one of them regardless. But yeah, Volo is already a human, and so is Errant, so no copying that. That being said, whenever we do cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature we control, we get a copy of that creature, and then with Errant, we can just pay 2 tap and create a copy of that copy. So essentially, by casting just 1 simple creature, we are getting, what, 3 total copies of it, essentially? So have fun taking over the board with that. But now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to give you my final thoughts on Errant Street Artist. Yeah, this low-to-the-ground commander can pack quite a punch, and you can do some really powerful things with it. Copying a copy can get pretty crazy, especially when you've got some untap effects and you've got, other ways to benefit after casting spells and also off of, copying spells. There's just a lot of really cool things that you can do with this. I think the main thing you need to keep in mind with this commander is there are certain copy spells that are like, hey, copy a spell, cast it without paying its mana cost. That doesn't count for this commander. Again, it does say copy target spell you control. That wasn't cast. So even if it's a copy, if it says that you're casting the copy, that doesn't count. So you want to make sure you're not making that mistake when you're building a deck around this commander. And my apologies if I made any mistakes on this episode. I'm trying my best, okay? Regardless, make sure you check out my other episodes from today. I think this is the 6th episode from today, so there are 5 other ones today. Yeah, there's a lot of exciting things going on. And of course, make sure you stay tuned to this channel for even more exciting spoilers coming up. And with that, the show has come to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thank you again, and have a good one.